So the advantage of speaking after a few great speakers is you can definitely include a lot of things what they said in your talk. So happy to be sharing the stage with 100-plus-year-old organizations, and as Poonam said, probably Kargil is new to many of you, so I thought I'll just first share a bit of what we are, and maybe I'll just. Can you hear me? Yeah. So Kargil is a 152-year-old, privately held agricultural major. We are 152-year-old. So you must be wondering, agriculture and digital, what is the correlation, right? What we do in Kargil and how digitization is changing even the agricultural world, I'll talk a bit about it. Just to introduce myself, I'm Lalitha, as you all know. I head the Kargil Shared Services in India, and Kargil is a typical Midwest company. It's a $130 billion company, so it's pretty big, and operate out of 70 different countries. And what we do from here, of course, we do have businesses of Kargil in India, and besides that, the Shared Services Center, which has started just in 2014 with about 50 people. Today, we are a 2,000-plus people organization doing work for Kargil businesses across the world. So that's our story. And personally about me, there's a famous quote that I strongly believe in. Apologies for the men in the room. People say that there's plenty of room for mediocre men in the world and none for mediocre women. So all the lovely ladies out here, you've grown beyond that, so a big round of applause for yourselves. So I started my career at the age of 17-year-old. One of the few young college students who started working pretty early. And in my last 25-plus years of career, I don't have the many pedigrees probably you people have. I've grown the hard way of working and learning and staying curious about everything that I do. That's what got me to where I am today. Digitization is definitely changing every single business. So as Mr. Dattari said, the competition is coming from an absolutely unexpected sources. Today, earlier this week, I was talking to one of the automotive companies, and they said, we no longer say that we sell cars. We sell an experience, and 4 wheels happens to be just the part of it, right? So it's about organizations looking at customer experience, making customer experience as center part of their digital transformation, and making everything and the products as a part of that whole journey of giving an experience to people, right? As many organizations in the digital transformation journey, definitely the strategy can no longer be something that you set up for 5 years and execute on it, right? Because just think about our recent past. Before 2008, the Ubers and Airbnbs didn't even exist, right? So it's not a 5-year-old strategy. Today, these are the organizations who are considered to be the poster childs of the digital transformation. So one of the topic which I thought I'll pick on from the content and talk a bit about is in terms of, is digitization creating parity for women? Right? That's one topic I thought we haven't touched upon, so I thought let me touch on that. So when we talk about parity, right? So there are 3 different areas I feel parities probably need to be looked at. One is in terms of, are we giving the right of education to girls? So that's the starting. Are you given equal opportunity to learn? That's one area where we should be looking at parity. And the second stage of women's career is, are you getting enough opportunities, right, equal opportunities to enter the workforce? And the third part is in terms of what are we doing as organizations to advance the women's careers? So these are the three areas where I feel parity is required. And what is digital and how is digital impacting these three areas is what? I think education in India probably for women may not be a very big challenge. Today, if you look at the statistics, engineering colleges, 50% of the women who are entering the engineering colleges are women. But all the 50% of these women probably don't enter the workforce. That is one area where we need to work on. So how is digital creating opportunity? Today, learning has become pretty digital. Are there folks from HR here? A lot of you. Learning, are you more and more looking at digital learning? Right? So with learning becoming digital, I feel the people even in the rural areas where probably the access to premium education is not available is becoming more available because of digitization. Right? I'll just share a small a case study which I've recently read. There is this organization, Clary Blair organization, who created an education software kind of a thing which would send advices for women entrepreneurs through their mobile phones and SMSs. This app or the tool has been used by almost 100,000 women in Africa and some of the Asia Pacific countries, and more than 90% of these women say that that helped them to become better business people. Right? So digitization is helping in education to bring parity, and also not just the organized sector, but also an organized sector. Right? So it is also reaching to the smaller enterprises, people, women who wants to sit at home and do their businesses. It's no longer, the marketplace is becoming much wider and it is reaching the homes of the people rather than the traditional offices. So it is definitely bringing that parity in workplace. The third point of advancement for women because of digital, I don't think today probably we have achieved that as yet, right? Once you enter the workforce, once you're there, it is up to you to take it. I think that's where organizations should make a difference and work in terms of how can we use digital to improve women's careers advancement. And we as Cargill, again, work a lot in that area. We, of course, have a focused women fast-tracking programs, career development, mentoring things, and giving her the stage to perform, putting them in difficult scenarios, giving them more importantly, one thing which, as a women leader, which I believe in, is organizations should not make assumptions what a woman can and cannot do. I think it is absolutely essential as an organization and as leaders, we give the choice to her. Let her decide what she can and cannot do, and support as a part of the journey. I think that's something what I believe in. So the way have, how many of you have school-going kids here? Can you take a guess of what percentage of jobs that your children will do when they grow up do not exist today? Any guesses? 60%. One of the recent studies says 60% of the jobs that the school-going kids in India are, it won't exist. It doesn't exist today. Not just that, today whatever we are doing, by 2025, apparently 20% of the jobs what we do today will not exist. Okay? So I think to stay ahead of this, one of the important aspects is to have strong learning agility, having an open-minded conversations, understanding the changing nature of the corporations. Today, with digital, the boundaries are very fast diminishing, right? So, sitting here in India, my team of the 2,000 people work 24/5 to organizations, our offices across the world. Today, it's no longer about somebody has to sit in the same geography next to your seat to do something, support for organizations to sell, or on a finance side or an IT side or anything. So with that changing demographics of how organizations are working, I think what is essential is how do you create a culture that can sustain this? I think, I keep saying that as the head of the organization, my biggest challenge is to create the right culture in the organization. There's nothing more important than that. So to create the right culture in the digital world, I think having an open-minded understanding and understanding your future workforce is not the same what it is today. So tomorrow when you're executing a project, your project assets might be 50-60% humans and another 40% robots, right? Do you agree with that? So your workforce is changing, organizations are changing, so it is pretty essential to understand how can you create a culture that is more global, culture that is more open, because people are going to work from across the world, right? So how do you create your digital presence so strong, and your transformation, keeping the culture in mind, is extremely essential. And I'll definitely, close it with absolutely, with his words of that India can lead in this whole journey. Okay, thank you.